Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
It's the quick scope! This is unreal! Anything is possible! Anything is possible! Ustillo is a monster, Tom!
The one you've been waiting for, the grand finals of the StarSeries I-League Season 4 finals. We're here in the Cyber Arena in Kiev. The crowd is packed, ready to see Na'Vi. There's a lot of jerseys over in the crowd. They're going to be supporting them for the 5 of them standing on stage. They've managed to make it this far, and to tell this story and to enjoy the ride with me is Chad Sponge Birchall and Janko YNK Paunovic.
They had to wait for a while, Alex. That third place decider, what a barn burner it turned out to be. That Inferno game. Quadruple overtime. What? Could you believe it? I'm just happy we've been here to witness it live in Kiev.
It was truly exhilarating, and now with energies high, tensions perhaps too, we are going to be getting ourselves ready for this grand final. And part of the proceedings is for us to try and get our heads around this final and also understand how we got here. I don't know if we have the bracket available, but I feel like now would be a good time to fill everyone in exactly when and how we got to this position. Chad?
When we started this tournament, Alex, I didn't think that we'd be seeing these two teams in the final by any means, right? When with the likes of SK, FaZe, Astralis with the new player, G2 looking hot in the group stage, and then mousesports and Na'Vi upset their way all the way to the grand final and give us a match that is definitely going to be fire, because you look at how these teams have gotten here, you look at the potential mental crumbling that Mouse has gone through, but the amazing players from the likes of Sunny and Stiko, and then you look at Na'Vi, who have just been ramping up as the tournament's gone on, and now they've got the crowd behind them. They're looking hot.
mousesports versus Na'Vi. This is no coincidence. This is no fluke. There is no luck involved, or perhaps, there's luck involved in everything, but no luck in getting to this grand final. This is pure hard work, skill, and of course, beating all of those big names on the way.
Mouse's path is quite an interesting one, because the two teams that they lost to in the groups, as you can see, G2 and Liquid, they met them in the playoffs, in the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and they managed to get revenge on both of them, beating SK and Cloud9 in the best of 3 as well. So quite a difficult road so far for mousesports, and they are a team that has been on the rise, probably for a couple of months now, ever since that ECS finals in Cancun. Na'Vi, on the other side of things, have been looking quite bleak, despite some of their results. Top 4 at the major, but only really beat QBF in a best of 3, and then Fnatic in a best of 1, Sprout and QBF again in a best of 1. So nothing to write home about. But at this particular tournament, they seem to have been raising their form throughout. They've shown actually some pretty good play. Something that I've criticized them the most for has been their T size, because there hasn't been like really good use of utility or much structure. It was mostly down to winning duels and winning those fights. But in that game, as you can see, the biggest scalp they took was FaZe in the semifinals, and there we saw some actually quite good T-side play from them. I think that combined with the decider game versus Astralis on Inferno is really what got them through to this grand final.
And we have to talk about it straight off the bat here. It's Simple with an amazing tournament yet again, right? We've seen this guy throughout the entire event that so far being the top fragger for his team. The good T-side coming in yesterday versus FaZe definitely helped, and someone else, Flamey, deciding to step up and be part of the roster and get some frags on the board. That shows that's all that Na'Vi needs to beat a legit contender like FaZe. So it'd be exciting when all three are Electronic, Flamey, and Simple are online. That's a big trio right there.
And that's the thing, like, Flamey had that great performance yesterday, but he's not even in the top 15 for the tournament, right? So that just tells you that was like a one-off from him so far. It's been mostly Simple carrying the team, and I think that's where you can kind of, it's a case in point for some of the criticism, because it's really difficult for Simple, Flamey, and Electronic to be all online at the same time, and you don't have a lot of structure. Yes, Simple is obviously a unique talent that we have in the scene right now, one of the best in the world, and he can probably make it happen under any circumstances. I mean, if he could make it happen in Flipside, he sure as hell can do it in Na'Vi. But the thing is, for someone like Flamey or Electronic, they probably need a bit more guidance, right? They need a bit more structuring around to know, okay, if I'm going in, I only have to look towards this side of the bomb site. I don't need to watch out for everything. And I think maybe with the time, if they get some more practicing, I think that's where you can see the future of this Na'Vi. You know, you kind of hate the direct comparison, but they can be Gambit just better because they have more firepower and more individual talent.
And of course, you know, you say you can be Gambit. The leader of Gambit is now wearing the Na'Vi jersey once again, Zeus. There has been a point of contention, splitting the desk, I think, you know, amongst us and amongst others, just regarding whether or not it has been a bit of a slow return from him.
Look, there were rumors while that Gambit roster, especially when they won the major, it wasn't necessarily off the back of Zeus doing amazing calling. It was, you know, the unit. You know, there was more to it than what, you know, we would all be expecting. Zeus was credited for that call on Train, which won them that match, or, you know, got them back into that game and saw them cross the line, helped change, you know, the way that match looked. But things that I've heard, murmurs may have been that, you know, other players were actually involved and for putting him in the right direction. Now, obviously,
there
this
he
is
is.
hearsay.
Got his stirring spoon out.
Gets the big one out, pops it in the pot, just stirring away.
I'm the master of the wooden spoon in more ways than one. So in this scenario here, seeing him come to this team and the T-sides be an issue when you're dealing with such talent, and we know that he can put structure within squads. That's basically what he's built over the history of CS. 1.6 in early days of CSGO. Now it seems to be flat. And the question mark is he trying to have a new style of CS because he has looser players? He has players like Simple, who we definitely don't want to be tamed.
Yeah, no,
What's
absolutely.
the question?
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Just to see what Na'Vi are going to be capable of as time goes on. But let's get into this and let's get those players on the stage. And they're about to meet the crowd here.
Mousesports.
Okay, he's got to get it down now. He's going to go for the kill. Oh, he's done it as well. 5 seconds. Apex with a follow-up from Chris J. And now a 1v1. Oh, Chris. He's going to get a no-scope.
Na'Vi.
Flamey takes down Guardian. They know where he is, and Flamey's got them all. 4 kills. On the Nico, 4 kills for Flamey on the retake. This is unbelievable. So what a triple!
Welcome on stage, Mousesports.
Mousesports have got themselves not only against the 5 in the server, but there's plenty here in the arena they'll be playing against as well. I'm sure, you know, we don't always have incredibly one-sided crowds, but I mean, there is no primer example than this one. Home territory for some here in Na'Vi.
Yeah, Na'Vi and the Cyber Arena, name a more iconic duo, right?
I think, you know, this matchup, we've questioned Mousesports, or definitely I have throughout the tournament so far and in their past matches, is their mental fortitude, we've seen them crumble several times, and massive leads have just fallen away from these guys. The biggest issue here is closing for them, and now in front of this crowd, they have a second battle. This is not going to be an easy game by any means. Na'Vi, I know some people think that it doesn't have any effect, but having a crowd, your home crowd behind you, cheering you on, you saw what it did for them yesterday. They were able to take down FaZe. They're going up against mousesports now who have looked hot, but this could be what they need.
Absolutely.
And I think for a team like Na'Vi, it definitely means more than, for example, okay, mousesports can't even have a home crowd, seeing as how they're an international roster. But I want to say for the CIS players, the emotions, the mentalities, that it really can drive them and help them elevate their level, especially a team that's still struggling to find their identity like Na'Vi is at the moment.
I want to get this out of the way before a single round of Counter-Strike has even been played. In my opinion, Simple should get the MVP for this entire tournament before the grand finals have even been played. This guy has had an absolute blinder, and no matter what happens here, unless he doesn't get any kills over a best
Zero
of 3 series,
kills, yeah.
then I think that is where you could question it. But you look at the performance from the guys on the mousesports roster, it's been everybody contributing. There hasn't been a single standout. Obviously, Sunny's looked really hot. Rops has had his moments. Oscar as well. Sticko's had blinders, good clutches. Then Chris J, he's been pulling his weight, definitely. But Simple, in terms of MVP, the way that I'm defining it in this tournament thus far, this guy's been putting up numbers like nobody can.
And what's interesting as well is that they were numbers that we questioned. We saw him doing it online. We saw him doing it in those online matches and those casual games, and we were kind of questioning whether or not he'd be able to replicate that and get a deep run. He's done it all. He's completed the challenge.
Yeah, some of the online numbers, there was no way he could keep up with that because that was just insane. But all things considering, he has obviously played at a very high level. It's not just about his stats, rating, and all that stuff. He on one side has a lot of clutches and also a lot of entry kills. So it's not even, he's not baiting out his teammates, and he's not exclusively only entering and using all the utility from his team. So obviously played a very good tournament, but that's also the problem for Na'Vi, right? It's when you look at historically, when a team goes on to win a tournament, it's rarely one player carrying the team all the way. Most of the time, when it comes to the big games, it's everyone contributing, everyone doing their job, and then maybe you have a guy who's just a little bit ahead of the rest of the pack. And I think that's why mousesports, are probably on the favorite coming into this one. When you look at everything, I think the main issue for them, as Chad pointed out, is that mental fortitude and maybe beating themselves more so than Na'Vi beating them.
Across the spread of the team, if you look at this mousesports roster and the skillful players that they have compared to that of Na'Vi, who we haven't seen all be able to reach their potential, Mouse have shown the opposite. Mouse have shown all of these guys can step up when they have to. And across the 5 members on the squad, I would say there's more firepower on this Mouse roster than there is on that of Na'Vi. However, the skill cap on Electronic, Flamey, and then Simple would outduel, I think, that of mousesports if they're all hitting their shots, if they're all on form.
You agree, Yanko?
I think there's more firepower on Na'Vi, but I don't think Na'Vi is using it properly at the moment. I think Mouse is a better team, and in that sense, they have more firepower because the players that they do have, they're in much better positions than Na'Vi's players. That's the thing with Na'Vi. If they can get to that level of coordination, of teamwork, then they can be a consistent contender at tournaments. But right now, it's just not there yet.
Absolutely. And you do keep mentioning that iconic 3. Of course, Electronic was brought into the team to provide some of that firepower. We saw he was capable of under the flip side banner. But actually, the reality of it is that Flamey's been there this whole time. Flamey has been present in that roster. And there have been times, Flame Dogger, I believe, would come out of your mouth occasionally, Chad, and we'd talk all about how those 30 frags were instrumental. We haven't seen that in a while.
The problem is it's too few and far between. With Flamey, I definitely think that he's a good player, and as a rock, as the kind of clutch player that you need and stepping up in big moments, he's the kind of guy that you want on your side, but we don't see it happen enough. And Yanko already pointed it out. Structure is necessary to be able to have those consistent performances because you need to know what your team's doing and how to move throughout those scenarios. When everything's different, when it's always sporadic, players like Simple thrive, and we're seeing that. And sure, that's not saying that he's doing anything to make this team worse. He is pulling out everything. Yanko said entry frags, clutches. The guy is an absolute monster. It's just some players do better with structure.
It also doesn't help Flamey the fact that he has decided to pick up the op for whatever reason. Now he's the secondary op of the team. I don't think it's necessary. Yes, 1 or 2 rounds in a CT side, potentially, right? If it's really the counter to what your opponents are doing, I think maybe he's being a bit too keen in using it, but we'll see how that kind of turns itself in this particular game because obviously mousesports with a very potent double op setup with Oscar and Chris J.
Well, what they could just do is clone Simple. I'm sure the technology's there.
They're working on it, I heard.
Yeah, and then you could just have one Simple dedicated to rifling, one Simple dedicated to AWPing, and then you're set. Easy.
I don't think you'd
What
ever
do you
lose
think?
a game. I
Yeah,
think
good
that's a great
analysis?
idea. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
if we go forward in time, maybe that'll happen. We can start cloning players. But for now,
Oh, fine.
we
Okay.
have to have the likes of Zeus and Edward and these kind of guys who are, very tenured in Counter-Strike, man. These guys are legends of the game.
Edward was clutching up a storm as well in his previous game in that semi-final. He was really bringing it, and actually to the point where it was quite funny. Natu questioned, he was like, "What? Wait, Edward, his role, he's supposed to be the clutcher. He's supposed to be closing out rounds that his teams have started for him." Well, it turns out he kind of started to fill those shoes finally, and I can hear the chants starting to fill the arena. I do want to start the conversation about maps as well, gentlemen. I think first we're going to get to hear a bit of an interview soon, so let's not jump too deep just yet.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting for mousesports, right? Obviously, they're a great nuke team. And Na'Vi, yes, they can, play it when people pick it against them, but I don't think they're a very good nuke team.
Yeah.
The thing is, mousesports is the best team in the world on Mirage at the moment, and considering they also beat Na'Vi 16-2 at the E-League Major, actually it was like the qualifier phase at that point, I think that's going to be their pick.
Yeah, and the interview is now ready on the stage. Let's go ahead and jump into Parlor in this wild cyber arena.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the grand final! On my right, I have mousesports, and on the left, of course, it is Na'Vi. Chris J, what's it like standing in front of this crowd?
I'm impressed how much noise they can make.
And Sasha, does this energy feed into you and your team?
It's giving me a lot of power, to be honest, so especially for all my team. So, болейте, ребята, болейте.
Chris J, could you be any more ready?
Yeah, we feel extremely ready for Na'Vi. We're going to take revenge on them.
And Sasha, are you now prepared for mousesports?
Of course, like for any team, so I wish them good luck and just let's show a great Counter-Strike and the better team gonna win.
There we go. Final words from both of you, please, and then do shake each other's hands.
Yeah, I hope for a good game, and I'm pretty sure it will be intense.
Same.
There we go, guys. Head back to your teams. We are now ready for the grand final that we've been waiting for. It's the hometown heroes, Na'Vi, versus mousesports.
I'm not even sure if you can hear that, if that's in my ear, or if that's just out the door, but yes, indeed, the chants are very real.
Is it every chant sounds like Virtus Pro?
Na'Vi.
To me, every chant just, it always just sounds like Virtus Pro. I don't know what it is.
Not anywhere.
Not even the
Maybe
same amount of
I got
syllables.
hearing problems. I don't know.
It is interesting.
I'm getting
though,
old.
Because obviously it's a quite small arena. There's not that many people, between 300-500. I'm not exactly sure, but because it's so small,
Yeah.
the atmosphere is actually pretty good.
It's electric, it really
It's
is.
very intimate, you might say. I think that'd be pretty intimidating, but we're going to get into the video. I
Oh,
think this
here we
should be,
go.
this could be clear cut or it could be a mess.
Yeah, I think for Na'Vi, obviously the cache veto is a standard there, and that also makes it easy for mousesports. They can just get rid of overpass, and those are the two maps that they really don't play. I think for picks it's going to be Mirage and
Oh.
okay.
And
Mousesports with a curveball here. They actually get rid of Navi's best map, Inferno, and they leave overpass in the pool. So this is a very interesting one, considering overpass is a map they would usually ban. Na'Vi go for the punish, but obviously mousesports wouldn't do it if they didn't have some preparation on the map.
This is what I talk about it potentially
You
being
love it.
messy, right?
Yeah.
Because this is LMBT, and this is why he is one of my favorite coaches. Actually, I'm just going to say he's my favorite coach. I think this guy, he's been playing Counter-Strike forever. He's been one of the early adopters of being a coach, and he's going to go for a risk like that in the grand final versus Na'Vi.
Ballsy.
You love to see it, and that Mirage pick makes a lot of sense. Last time these two teams actually went head-to-head was during the E-League Major, and mousesports crushed Na'Vi on Mirage 16-2, and they feel that's the best map in the world. They're the best team on that map in the world right now, and I have to agree with them.
Yeah, they've looked very, very ferocious on Mirage. No team really capable of toppling apart from Liquid, actually, who managed to pick up that surprise win on Mirage earlier on in the tournament.
Yeah, and this is a good gamble for mousesports, because when you look at Na'Vi and their wins, even against FaZe, it's mostly been, you win the pistol and then you either reset them and then there's a good individual round somewhere in there. It's been nothing impressive in terms of necessarily team play or some crazy strategy. So for mousesports, even though you're not really an overpass team, that makes it easier for you to actually play it in this type of a setting, because you can get you can think of a couple of setups, a couple of basic gun rounds that you can go for on both the T and the CT side, and with a bit of luck, that can be all it takes.
Help me out here. We see Train is the last map.
Yes.
mousesports choose not to play Cobblestone.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Now,
because they almost
is
lost 16-0.
That's yeah. Of course, they had one bad result. It's not just that though. This is a map that they're not good at over the history of the tenure of the team.
I mean, it's been one of their better maps.
Right.
It's just that recently, when it comes to
the
their
Scar?
performance on it, and especially that semi-final game, that they don't want anything to do with it. Train has been better for them. Then again, it's better for Na'Vi as well. So I think that's just in the end, mousesports probably thinking, okay, we can get rid of Inferno, but let's not go too crazy and play two maps that we really haven't been great. I mean, overpass, they don't even play it that much. And Cobblestone, they had that shaky start. So you don't want to come into a best of 3 and twice go for your opponent's weakness, so to speak, and then maybe you lose and end up, well, why didn't we just play one of the maps that we actually practice?
Yeah, look at Na'Vi. They're boasting a 16-7 win versus FaZe on this very map. Heroic barely got 4 rounds. And then on the other side of things, you've got wins versus some much lower tier teams. The likes of Epsilon, Man's Not Hot, and a 16-3 though versus Hellraisers.
The Hellraisers one is legit. Like, Hellraisers is a team for me that
Yeah.
they play that map fantastically, especially their T side. Angel has a very good system in place. But the interesting thing, or the thing that I want to address here, is probably the stylistic. We know that Na'Vi are very slow, right? We've seen them with that approach, and it's coming more and more into this tournament. They've actually grown into playing slow. It's come to haunt them several times, but also it seems to work in bleeding out against their opponents. On the other side of things, you got mousesports who are super aggressive, and you've heard them in interviews on the stage. Now, they say they don't care. What they mean by they don't care is they're not feeling the pressure. They're just going to play a confident Counter-Strike. And then talking to LMBT before coming over for the final, he had the same sentiment. That's what they've gone with the whole tournament. They're going to go into the grand final with the same mindset, in theory. It's not that easy.
Sure.
But they're just hopefully kind of going to come out the gate super aggressive. So it's two very contrasting styles.
You have to remember, yes, mousesports lost the DreamHack Winter Grand Final to Na'Vi, and that was very simple. Again, had a blinder of a tournament, but over the course of the cores of these two teams, mousesports have the upper hand. They beat Na'Vi 16-0 online, but then at Pro League, but then at a LAN this time last year, they beat them like 16-2 or 16-4, something like that on Mirage. So they did have some convincing wins. And another thing to note is overpass for mousesports is not the same like Cobblestone for FaZe or Nuke for SK. It's not that they never play it, as you can see, but the opposition which they play it against, usually lower tier opponents, they alternate their vetoes between Cash and Overpass depending on their opponent's map pool.
But what's so interesting here is, throughout this tournament, throughout this run Na'Vi have made, Inferno was present. They get to play that strong map. They picked up the big results. That's where some of the biggest scouts they took were, the battleground where that took place. Now they have to win the grand finals without that tool in their toolkit.
It's a very scary final, I think, for them. There's a lot of pressure on this squad because they do have the crowd behind them. I think the fact that that's something you don't want to disappoint all your fans out there who are only cheering for you. If there's a mousesports fan in that crowd, he wouldn't be saying much.
The problem is when you look at the veto, you just have a very difficult time seeing mousesports lose Mirage, like to any team in the world right now. So for Na'Vi, obviously that means they probably need to make this a 3-map series, and it also means that they almost certainly need to win Overpass, which is their own pick.
Well, then that's going to be a really important team talk for them, though. They know that this map essentially controls the grand final result unless they would pull out something crazy on Mirage.
I think for mousesports here, they can win this map. I think key against playing against Na'Vi at the moment is don't get too caught up with like force buys and resetting them and so on. I think when you have full utility against Na'Vi, that's where they struggle to win consecutive rounds. Na'Vi right now is doing a good job of winning those crucial rounds, keeping pressure on your economy all the time, because even when they're eco, they can get a couple of kills with their players, just being very, very good with pistols. And then they kind of drag you into this, almost similar like G2, drag you into this war of attrition when it comes to force buying and the economy war, and then they usually come out on top.
I'd like to note from Sunny's interview with HLTV.org yesterday was they asked a question about the AWPing, and when Oscar has money to drop for his teammates, he'll instead hold on to it. And basically Sunny said, yeah, if we give Oscar the AWP, he can keep buying his own. We can grab some CZs and just jump corners for him. If we find the guy in a 1v3 scenario, we're pretty sure he's going to win it. So we're happy, and that's a great trade-off that you can have so much confidence in one of your star players that other people, like Chris J, we've seen on the MP7, will opt for lower weaponry so that he can be at full fire. And that's something that's great because he seems to deliver time and time again if he gets that space.
Yeah, now you know what? On this grand final stage are two of the most successful clutches at this event. It is Oscar and it is Simple. Both of them have been spectacular in winning those 1 vs X's.
Yeah, and that's obviously, Oscar known for it and Simple just good at everything, I guess. But to talk a little bit about the point that Chad made about the mental fortitude for mousesports and all that, they have played a couple of, big games, big stage games. but never really against a hostile crowd. You know, Cancun finals didn't have any crowd. At the major against FaZe, there was no really clear fan favorite there. I don't think so, at the very least. And here they are actually against a hostile crowd. So if they, lose a silly round and you hear like the massive roar of the crowd going against you and everything, that's where I think they've had enough losses at this point where they have choked and lost the game for themselves, that they really need to have learned their lesson. And if that happens, they should not be able to let it snowball out of control.
It's an interesting point as well. Let's think about it. The two grand finals we've seen mousesports in before, no crowds. Mykonos,
Yes.
Cancun. It was complete dead silent, like they were playing at home. This could not be further from it. The sun is not shining, and the crowd most definitely is present. And they're going to be taken to their seats, and I think we will be shortly, because I do think the casters are going to be waiting in the wings. Gentlemen, overpass, first map. We'll do it on a map-by-map basis. Do you genuinely believe Na'Vi are going to come in swinging?
No, I'm really backing mousesports here. I like their style, I like their aggression, I like their demeanor. And I think the double AWP setup here of Christian and Oscar on a map like Overpass, sure, simple, he's had a blinder over tournament, but he's got, unless Flamey shows up, which I can't see happening again, they're going to struggle.
They're going to struggle. I guess we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, boys. Yanko, just give me a nod. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. Your casters are ready. Your grand final is about to commence. So take a seat, grab a snack, and let's play some CS.
Play some CS indeed. That's exactly what we hope to see from Na'Vi in front of their home crowd. Simple's played a lot of it, but he hasn't had the best team around him at all times. They've been there a little bit more, and that's probably why they're in this final, to be fair.
I can't wait to see how this one goes down, Matt. It's got some electrifying players on the server, so much skill potential here, and we've got one of the greatest AWP battles in the game about to go down as well. Two of the best AWPers in terms of form. Oscar going up in Simple, I think that's going to be such a hot battle to follow. Whether Simple turns up and is impeccable form like he has the entire tournament, I think is a question answered itself. He seems to turn up to every single game. Whether Oscar does is another question altogether. He sometimes can be incredibly hot, sometimes a little bit cold, but he obviously has a great structure around. You've got Sunny there with him as well. He should be able to step up here. And obviously Flamey on the Na'Vi side. Is he going to be able to join Simple on that level once again?
And a team that's only gotten better since the departure of a player that's on Simple's level. We often talk about Nico. When he left mousesports, we weren't sure what to expect. Oscar came back and is playing world-class Counter-Strike. And you're right, the double up setup that they bring has been underrated. I think in the last few weeks, it's certainly gotten its fair bit of attention, and rightfully so. It's earned attention as they continue to be a surprise team. Another final, their third in the last 4 months.
Absolutely. It's no surprise to see them
here
again.
For a bit. It was September that the Mykonos event was, so a little bit more than that, but certainly still impressive.
I think the guys make a good point as well. People don't put much value into having a crowd there, but like the guy said, mousesports have never played in front of a crowd, so this could be a factor for them, and we'll see whether this will be something that will maybe phase them at all. We'll get into it, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Overpass to kick things off. mousesports versus Na'Vi, two unlikely contenders here in the grand final, but they've ground through the entire event. And we'll see whether mousesports on the CT side with one smoke and defuse kit can take down the buy of Na'Vi. They, of course, have the PD50 for Simple here. 3 sets of armor, Zeus on the utility, one smoke, a flashbang there, and they normally head towards the mid area and try and pincer towards that A site. That's exactly what they're doing right now. As we'll get into it, Oscar challenging with that silent USP. And he'll fall back and take a more defensive line after getting a bit of information there.
So Sticko, the one on the flowers at long. Good first shot. I thought he put Electronic down to 1 HP, but Simple responds. Fitting he's the one to open the kills. And Na'Vi gets the first, just as they did yesterday in their series in the semifinal versus FaZe. Whether that translates to a pistol win, yet to be determined. Electronic with 1 HP will continue to try and tap toward the bathrooms. Rops, Sonny, Oscar, Chris J. Oscar's going to start to work his way back inside of the bathrooms alone. Chris thought about rotating down to the window at Heaven, but thinks better of it. Sonny and Rop's going to go passive on B. Think to rotate early. They may just go with it now on the gut instinct that this will end up on A, based on the fact that Simple's now found his second kill. And he's pushing on with the P250 as well.
Here we go then, 5 versus 3. Simple starting in emphatic fashion there. 2 headshots with the P250 so far. And they'll still have time to work with it, but Na'Vi are famous for running on the clock a little bit too much here. 35 seconds now, still have a smoke for the bomb site. Just one player waiting towards A. That's going to be Sunny with the USP and 100 HP. Edward patrolling long. There's a smoke towards CT, and Simple makes his way towards the bomb site. Sunny can't really back it up at all, and will be with his teammates and try and retake together.
So smoke down, Simple waiting on the inside, bomb planted. Keep in mind, Na'Vi does run the clock down a lot in these situations. I'm sure it will be a factor in one of these rounds where time actually expires. It always seems to happen. Flamey gets Sunny. They know there's more on the stairs. They wrap around the corner though, and Rops is certainly ready. Burst fire for Zeus as he backs off. Wants to run and gun and get damage in. Simple. Trying to pincer them in on the back stairs. Actually gets caught, but Edward will make up for it and take down Chris in return, leaving us with Rops on 3 HP. Electronics surprisingly stayed alive in all of this with his 1 HP, just sitting in the bathrooms. And the round done. Na'Vi started off with the pistol win.
Well, there we go. Simple on that P250, using the default strats at the very start. Mid-control towards long. Popping heads as he goes. He finds the openings, and his teammates finish things off. Good smoke towards CT Spawn. Flash on the side. You can see what the mentality of the CTs were there. Obviously, Sunny in a 1 versus 4 situation at that point. He couldn't really challenge. He had to wait towards B and take a bit of a gamble in that respect. Be with his teammates and try and retake A together. Didn't work out for them. They get a couple of frags, but ultimately it's going to be quite a clean round there for Na'Vi. Not a full investment in the second round from mousesports side. We have got upgraded pistols here. Sunny and Rops with the armor. Chris J, Oscar and Sticko, they have a much more modest purchase. Just the PT50 for Chris J, Sticko, Deagle, no armor. They don't want to go all in here. As Yanko mentioned, they want to make sure they have all the utility against a team like Na'Vi. Be able to stifle them towards the latter stages of the round and have those incendiaries. Make sure they definitely have the AWP as well. So this should be quite an easy run in the second round for Na'Vi here. Edward will open things up and take down Oscar. And slowly does it, of course. Na'Vi, this is where they do their best work. A nice opening pick to kick off the round. And they can slow things right down, wait for the reactions to come in. They were awful against these sort of rounds in the beginning sectors of this tournament. Just about got through the playoffs, but like we said, they had that 24-hour period to review the demos, and it has been much better, I have to say. I was impressed with what they did with the time off, and they've rarely lost a pistol since then. They've got a much better strategic approach, it seems, as the tournament goes on.
Sticko will try and peek out along with the Deagle. Zeus tagged ever so slightly. Smoke to the back, dumpster. Not necessarily commitment. In fact, Zeus caught running backwards by Sticko. That might reveal that they are actually going to head toward B, and as such, already 2 rotations from inside of the site. It'll be Chris J and Sticko. Rops alone on B, knows they're likely going to arrive any second. In fact, they are. They're already inside of the site. He's aware of it. Good positioning. More kills for the pistols as they have the advantage in the round. Pulled back by Electronic and a bomb plant to boot. That's going to be simple to hold it off, but Rops has stayed alive in the pit. No, they're still pushing. He's got another shot to Electronic, and it's down to Edward versus Rops. Sunny finally drops, but Rops with 13 HP. Looking for his 4th kill in the round. Edward's going to play this out to time. He knows he can afford to do so. AK picked up at the very least for Rops, but 13 HP and no kit. He has to go now.
Yeah, he still has a slight chance here. You can see over 10 seconds. He needs to find his kill now. He cannot win the round at this point. He won't be able to defuse the bomb. That kill will be almost worthless to him, but he will manage to at least find it. There it is. Won't be able to defuse the bomb, but very well done to find all 4 kills. Given that, will he survive?
No.
He definitely won't. Goes down. So great work there by Rops, but his team have to be fully clear next round. On the T side, they'll be able to recover regardless. They can get the AK's armor, maybe a few Mac 10s as well. And mousesports will just have to look on around number 3. So a great attempt there by Rops. As you can see in the top right, the bomb ticking down. It has to be above 10 without a kit for him to defuse there. And they're going to force buy Matt. Okay, this is a massive call. Yanko called out that they didn't want to see him go for these sort of plays. It's not as effective. If they're on the T side right now, I would justify this. The fact mousesports are doing it on the CT side, I think they're going to actually wreck their own game here. It's going to take an absolute monster performance from Oscar here. Lose this round, they go into a 5-0 deficit to kick things off. That is not the way you want to go into a grand final, especially against a Na'Vi in the cyber arena. You want to make sure everything is looking positive yourself, especially with those 4 buys. That's why they took a modest second round purchase now. Yes, you took all 5 players down, but still you're lacking in the firepower. It's not like you have some sort of advantage here. Such a risk to be taken here against Simple. In this sort of form, I wouldn't be trying these sort of rounds. So what have they got? A FAMAS, 2 SMGs, 1 Scout for Oscar. He's very good at that weapon. And Sunny on the Deagle, also deadly, but they haven't found anything just yet. Very default hold, and I'm sure mousesports don't want to fire any bullets too early. As a boost will come in, they do need to make something happen at the very start. Hole in the door. Sunny doesn't get anything for it. They might jump up again.
Sunny does spot them again, but they're already inside of pit. Edward pushed up. Bit of a miscalculation as Simple gets his ankle shot by his teammate. Doesn't hinder him at all. He'll Sneak in, trying to spray. Sonny out of position and nails the headshot as well. It looks beautiful. Naturally.
Always does.
The force buy is falling apart. This is going to hinder mousesports tremendously moving forward as Electronic will plant inside of the site, safe behind the bags. Not the pallets, excuse me, but
Matt, this
Oscar with one back. This is a desperate call that's not worked out at all.
It really was not the correct call, in my opinion. Obviously, they've got their own game plan and how they like to play against a Na'Vi in the form they're in right now is simple on fire. I just don't think you're going to catch them out with FAMASs and SMGs. I feel like now they've really limited themselves going forward. Oscar might save a scout, but he definitely won't be able to afford the AWP going to the next round. Sticko MP9, that's hardly that beneficial. What are they going to do? Force around it again? You see they're all in. They're going to get 2,400 bucks on top of their absolute zero right now. So great. You've saved a scout and an MP9. What do you do now? Do you just go for another partial buy? Do you go all in? It's such a dicey position now. This is why I always try and avoid these sort of calls. So it looks like they'll take a very slight investment. Rops just get his P250. He gets armor as well. Keeps himself under 2K mark though, so that's okay. Chris J probably gets a CZ or something, I'd imagine. Nothing purchased. Sunny, very similar story. Just $300 invested.
Oh, that's fancy from Oscar.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Would he get anything for it? No.
Just gets destroyed.
Simple is getting in that mode again, isn't he? He's ready.
Wow. He just needed a final to hit next form. Is there a form beyond the one that he's been in? I don't think so. Ungodly as of late. Stika will wait at the bottom of the stairwell. Sonny's with him on a crossfire, hoping that Na'Vi walks toward it. After getting that opening frag as well, Simple will push up and cover off the party. Make sure that anyone pushing out from the stairwell, if Flame Eater flush them that direction, will be caught. Edward's going to get a little closer with Flame Eater. Rightfully so. Sonny finds the crossfire. And just Chris and Rops to find before it goes 4-0 for Na'Vi.
Clinical stuff now from Na'Vi. Haven't made a single mistake yet. We're 4 rounds in. That's quite a scary prospect. Money will start to stabilize for mousesports in the next round. Probably bring out the AWPs. But they've given up 4. After that force buy, that was a really difficult call to make. Scout will be saved by Chris at this point. We'll see if that rings true. Bomb goes down a beat. Nothing really to get excited about so far in this grand final. I know you guys have been waiting for it for a while. Never seen anything like it in a third place game in my life. Quad overtime. But there you go. Maybe lessons were learned. As we'll get into the final couple of frags here. Rops just trying to maybe get one. Not going to happen. Edward farms some more cash here. And now their bonus round is arriving at this point, Matt, because they can keep these Mac 10s. Maybe not. Edward will lose his. Chris J, very proficient with the scout, but that should be, he probably hits this. Oh, it's going to be close. There it is. Of course he does. And now this is looking a little bit worrying for Na'Vi. Like we said, only giving up those Mac 10s can definitely justify that. Don't really want them for the next round. As we get into it, Oscar brings out the big green gun for the first time. He's currently on 1 and 3. Will Chris J do the same? Could certainly afford to do so. Judging by his ecos, I'd say that's definitely a possibility to kick things off here. The first gun round in round number 5. I'll take a tactical timeout right now. Oh, I beg your pardon. It's actually technical, but we're on pause already.
Immediate. So whatever the issue was has solved itself.
Yeah, probably just a small thing like TeamSpeak. Who knows? 4-0 to the hometown favourites. It's nice we can actually hear the crowd somewhat. We can kind of build off their energy, perhaps. We'll see what happens as the game continues here. Double AWP set up indeed for mousesports. As you kind of mentioned as we're going into this one, I actually think they are one of the best double AWP setups in the game right now. That might seem a little bit strange. Chris J, not considered like a world-class talent, still a very good player. Not a superstar anymore, but still, his AWPing is great still. And the work he's done with this team has been great. As we'll get into Electronic. What a shot. Chris J just dismantled there. He got boosted up, but he's not alive any longer. Electronic showing up could be a deadly prospect as well. Na'Vi, another early 5-on-4. I said it earlier. This team thrives off these sort of picks. If they get them, they know to bleed out the utility. They just wait and wait and wait. Just hang you out to dry. As you can see, mousesports still not recovered in terms of their financial stature. 1 smoke, 3 flashbangs. We haven't got to the 1-minute mark. They've lost a pick. Oscar has to do some fantastic work if they can have a chance in this round. 4-0 already for Na'Vi.
Sonny will sit and watch both sides, Monster and Short. A play off of Rops when they do head down Monster. Seemingly now, he's going to go early because he sees the nades. He knows they can. They double peek and it works out. But they get the trade back, and Flamey gets Sonny with a bounced nade. Well done, because now the site wide open. They pick it apart, they read it well, and they recover, they respond, and Sticko's now left alone on the site. He's waiting for the rotation, a rotation which may not come because Oscar has an AWP all right. He will get there. They have to make chances here.
They have no kit map, and they've got a couple of smokes to work with, 3 kills to find. 30 seconds on the bomb now, and Oscar desperately needs to open things up here. Sticko start to encroach on the bomb site. Is it going to be enough? Edward, he doesn't seem to think so. Oscar might have to consider saving the AWP. I think that's the call that's already been made. 5-0 coming in, and he'll probably save the AWP, but never discount that map. As the guy said in the interview on HLTV the other day, as long as Oscar has an AWP, they're happy just to bring out the CZs, MP7s, and all that sort of stuff. And he can carry around single-handedly. He's yet to really arrive in this game, but the fact he has an AWP, there's always a chance. He'll nail that shot, of course. And there's Na'Vi really gaining some traction now. Pause will come in, another tactical one, I'd imagine, for mousesports. Indeed it is. So they've got maximum loss bonus now with the 5 rounds gone against them. AWP in Oscar's hands. He can drop an M4. They then can bring out FAMASs and UMPs if they want to buy into this one. That is such a big if. I think they'll go for a partial. That would be my call right now. Go for a partial buy around the AWP. If you start losing the round, just human shield it. Try and protect the AWP at all costs. This is the kind of round if I'm Na'Vi right now. I'm doing a B-rush. I'm not even doing a default right now. I'm just going to get in there
get
fast as I can, get past the AWP. Yeah, I think that. And these particular rounds, I don't normally say that, but when you know there's one AWP up and it's unlikely he just sits in the B-bomb site, I'm just calling a rush that pick. Maybe just a contact B play, trade out frags against the pistols, and just try and avoid it at all costs. If you go into default and Oscar just gets one, falls back and funnels you to a bomb site, that's when things get really scary. So we'll be interesting to see what kind of mentality Na'Vi have got this particular round. Obviously, millions of different approaches you can take with that one. But that could be something to shut it down. They will be just going for the default here. Oscar towards mid.
Flamey waiting behind the toolbox. So they have slowed it down. They haven't gone for your approach. I understand completely the reasons why you might do so.
Yeah, it's just ideas. You know, like it's just every in-game leader's got a different approach to how they want to play the game and how they win rounds. You can see you slow things right down, and it gives Oscar the opportunity to start finding picks. Is what he does. He's an amazing AWPer. He finds the first one, takes down Edward, and then the CZs come to life. Damage done to Zeus. Didn't find the frag, but taking Zeus down to 3 HP. Still an equal situation. Oscar now presumably repositions. He's still towards bathrooms for now, allowing his teammates to have 3 players towards B. You can see they're slightly worried by this one now. Zeus gets the AWP. I've never seen that weapon in his hand, so whether that'll work out, yet to be seen.
Strictly due to the 3 HP, obviously.
He can just hold a position like long and wait for them to push. But this is one of the rounds I reckon Na'Vi will start running out of time. They're being very slow right now.
Exactly, and they know they're against pistols and a saved AWP, but yet they're not being assertive at all. They're really overcautious, in my opinion. Now they're going to get a problem where they're going to run into B, and there's going to be a crossfire set up. If this goes wrong with 30 seconds left, that bomb becomes an issue. Desperate spray for Electronic to try and catch Rops inside of Monster. He's going to transfer over again to play on the left side. His left, their right on entry. Simple finds Chris at least. Flashes in. Rops fully blind. They're going to check it. Surely they're going to check it. Oh my goodness, they don't. Sonny's got Electronic down. He's got low HP Zeus, but he hits the shot on the AWP. An important one at that, because it takes out the man on the back lines who could have thwarted all possibility of a bomb plant. And now it's Oscar left in a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, that was actually really well played by Zeus. The fact that he's not even got that awareness, that could be a possibility. I'm very impressed by. Oscar will see what is available to him here. Goes for a desperate wallbang at that point. Gives up the AWP. I think maybe even saving that at that point might have been the best case scenario for him. But down he goes. 6-0. And mousesports. Not a great start here on overpass. It was a bit of a wild card pick. You saw in the Vita they gave up Inferno. Everyone seems to be scared of Na'Vi's Inferno right now, and for good reason. It looks very good. And another full buy for mousesports. We'll have a look if it's limited in any sense. So Stick only has a smoke and an HE. 1 player of a kit, that's Chris J. No double AWP set up this time, but overall pretty decent. We'll see if the Na'Vi money is really swelling or they kept on a leash at all. Well, not really. 9k for Flamey. Same story for Zeus. Simple as 7. So, yeah, they're pretty confident right now. They can afford to take a few risks here, a few Hail Mary plays, but so far, perfect game.
Edward checking. In front of the bathrooms, watch Chris push up. Finds Flamey. Somehow Flamey finds the kill instead, though, and he's got 11 HP. Finds out, takes Tico, who's got his teammate Zeus down before that, but long range. Door open, low HP. Equates to his death in the end as Sunny levels us back on 3 versus 3. 6-0 Na'Vi, and they have the advantage. A very spread out defense, but do they know the AWP is waiting at the bathroom?
Here we go.
It's Oscar with the shot. Saved it for 2 rounds and finally gets to use it.
Challenging towards the connector, coming out on top of the trades. 3 on 2 now. Simple is still alive. The round is never over until he's been removed from proceedings. Oscar will jump up on the bomb side at this point, see if he can use his smoke to his advantage. Not going to have anyone in front of him just yet. Simple is waiting in the bathrooms patiently. Electronic hunting for intel here. They are running out of time at this point. They're not together. Less than 30 seconds now. Wants to play from Electronic. He's going to basically set Simple up for a clutch here, man. He's going to try and go in towards B, from what I can tell. Try and pull the rotations over, and then Simple hopefully gets 1 kill. That's his objective right now. Not going to happen. Simple will go in towards the A side. Oscar's ready and waiting, though. Simple will come to life at this point. Oscar misses the shot. The pressure starts to set in, but 10 seconds here. If he can stay alive, he's done his job.
And he'll know Simple's pushing through the Molotovs because he can hear the flames, he can hear the damage. And you're right, 10 seconds, all he had to do was stay alive, make things awkward. The Molotov well placed as well to keep him potentially off the plant. There's a slight gap he could have gone for, but 6-1, mousesports pick up their first round. 3 players staying alive and doing so, but this will be a potential reset if Na'Vi are able to pick this up. In turn, Na'Vi's about to be broken because the last few rounds have been close.
There's been a lot of close interactions, sure. 2 players surviving. The rounds look pretty clean, but like players like Oscar and Sunny will find a couple of kills towards the end of the round. But still, yes, this is very indicative as to where this game will go. If mousesports drop this one, I don't think they get much done in this half whatsoever. But if they can overcome round number 8 here, they've got a serious chance of making a dent on the CT side. Flamey will be challenged first, takes down Sticko clinically as well. 5 on 4. Remember, Chris J on an MP7 this round. Another 5 versus 4. Na'Vi love this situation. You can't give them this play without a trade. They're so devastating when they get given this opportunity. They love working as a group. They love slowing things right down, and now an execution towards B. Nice and assertive. Zeus going in first, trying to find that pick. And will be Rops waiting towards the water. Nothing he can do about that, though. In-game leader leading by example there. Chris J towards short, MP7 in hand. Sunny stuck with him. They have to smoke themselves out of that position. That's just signs of the times, Matt. They're having to smoke themselves out of the bomb site. The CTs.
With an MP7 for Chris as well. He's done well with that gun earlier in the tournament, but this is Na'Vi just dominating the leaders of the sites. They run through. They're desperate. And Oscar again on an AWP will get 1, but now he's got to run this off. It's been around for 4 or 5 rounds in his hands at this point in time, but they still can't win. They've got 1 win in all of that, and they're about to be reset. They know it too. Double peek. Oscar hits the first shot brilliantly and manages to get up the stairs before the refrag can get in. But the flank is on.
Will they let him save it again? I would think definitely worth hunting him down regardless of how much it costs. You know they've been reset here. If he has an AWP, there's always a danger he can carry these rounds. Edwards coming in. They are going to try and pincer him the best they can, but it looks like Oscar's done enough here. He'll push back through the smoke, and I think he survives here. Running towards B definitely does. They'll probably go for a force buy here, considering he's got 5k. They'll have to take a tactical pause, of course. And once again, I know I've said it a few times, but Oscar with an AWP, that is enough to win a round. So they'll definitely take a pause and work out how they distribute the current wealth they have. Do they take the risk? Oscar's got 5,300 residual cash right now. You could drop 2 UMPs at that one, even 2 FAMASs. Do 1 M4 perhaps. Depends how you want to do it. Or you take nothing at all, keep his money strong, let's go for some PT50s around him. They have taken too many risks so far in terms of their financial stature. Whether they'll do it again, I'm not so sure. The unpause is called. I'm not seeing anything purchased. That's the first deagle. Suggests they're not going to go all in. I think that's the correct call. This half's not over yet. Sure, it'll probably be 8-1 at this point, but going all in again and probably losing a round, that's when you open the floodgates completely.
So we'll see if the AWP can do anything. They made it slightly uncomfortable, you could say, in the last time they had just the AWP to work with. Sunny's gotten aggressive with the deagle. Peek, not gonna happen. Simple takes Oscar down immediately. Tried to put the AWP on B this time to change it up to catch them off. To slow Na'Vi. Slow them as well because they've got a flank coming in from Sunny. He's all the way behind them at T stairs, but a push out from Rops. Good find, blinded up. Flamey's able to get him back. He's got the AK and he'll walk into the site. Stiko still waiting with the USB, will be revealed. And it is just Sunny on the flank with Simple, although looking slightly higher than he is. Certainly aware of the possibility.
Oh, yeah.
Exit kills the goal for Sunny at this point, it seems.
Ideally, get one kill, get the AK survive. It's more likely he'll get one kill if he's taken down. As you can see, Na'Vi, even with 4 kills there, waiting to plant the bomb, making sure every risk factor has been eradicated. Electronic, he's feeling a little bit horny here. He'll push forward and be taken down, punished there. And Simple presumably takes down Sunny. Well, he does get a couple here. Keeps on that leash once again, Matt. They won't be able to swell financially just yet. He won't be winning this round, I can guarantee that, but he does take down 2 with him. So that's still good work by Sunny there. As we get into round number 10, we'll have a look at what mousesports will be presenting. I'd assume maybe a double AWP again. Chris J, though, to be fair, only has $3,300. 2 and 8 for Sticko. Chris J, 3 and 9. Oscar, need to see him at the top. He's got 7 kills. Just 1 round on the board so far for mousesports. Mirage up next, and they're considered, I think, maybe even one of the best teams on Mirage right now. mousesports, that is. 3rd map Train, though, Matt, and we've discussed what Simple can do on that map a lot this week. And that seems a little bit scary at this point if it does make it there, even if they can overcome Mirage. Either way, MP7 once again for Chris. Spanish touch on that as to why he'll pick that up and allow his star, Oscar, to have the AWP. Little utility, though, but Oscar this time towards long. Flashbangs come in. Oh, they do affect him quite heavily there. I thought it'd be a little bit too deep. He'll have to fall back towards the bathrooms as they assert their dominance on this side of the map. That's better. They weren't even flashing bathrooms before earlier in the tournament. This time, nice shot though from Oscar. He should be nailing that.
Yeah. Bit of an overreaction to the positioning, perhaps. Oscar goes backwards in the bathrooms. As a result, he's got to cover off the front of the site. Problem is they have no one out toward long with his positioning. And his miss essentially gives that to them as they walk by. Good play from Sticko, though, to rotate up from the underpass and take out Zeus. Rotations as well from Chris J to get on the site from B. Finds only 1. Oscar down as well with the AWP on return, and now a 3 versus 3 with the A site given up. Slight chance Rops can do something against Flamey. If the timing is right with Sticko as well, it may work that they distract enough. Simple's peeking long. He's got Sticko as well. Immediately peeked after planting the bomb. Rops now very limited in his positioning.
They've still got Molotovs, Matt, and smokes as well on the T side here. Sunny had to nail that shot straight away to stand a chance. He'll throw a flash, and he does nail it. Well played. Now there is some life in mousesports. The 2-on-2 begins. Sunny does flash again, trying to set up his teammate Rops. Edward and Flamey lie in wait. Now it's just Edward. Time ticking away, though. He'll just tuck himself in the corner, going for the YOLO play here. Actually, he realizes the bomb's on the other side. They'll have to go for the defuse here. Can he spray through the smoke? He'll get 1. Can he find the kill? He's panicking.
Oh, no.
And no! mousesports win the round there. Edward couldn't work out where the bomb was. He actually was hiding behind the flower bed initially. I think he forgot the bomb was towards the bank side. Had to jump up there, gets the first kill, but fumbles the frag on the second. It still comes down to 1 player surviving for mousesports, so they'll still be strapped for cash. They didn't save the AWP from what I saw. They did not. Oscar's brought an M4. I thought Edward had that for days. Once he got that first kill, I think he only had like 5 bullets in his AK. That was the problem. There we go. Well played to Sunny, especially there. That was great work with the flashbangs. Making Simple miss is no easy task.
Zeus trying to swing out and catch Oscar off guard. Can't do it behind the smoky stays in the bathrooms. Zeus making calls to try and get position in favor of his team. Electronic might be the first to take a duel. That's Oscar not on the AWP this time. That opens things up for them. Maybe something in that, Flamey. Hate to say it, Oscar's obviously tremendous on the AWP, but it's just not gone his way this game.
No.
Zeus will continue to push forward and finds Oscar retreating. Good wide angle. Knew the situation, knew that he was likely going to be falling back toward the park sign. Again, Na'Vi may have opened up the A side already.
They're committing as well. This is a faster paced Na'Vi, but Sticko coming in the back lines there, finds Flamey. Does give them the lead once again, but Sticko has got his work cut out for him, but he rises to the occasion, finds the bomb in the bathrooms. 3 versus 1 now, 30 seconds remaining. It's Simple, throwing away the AWP. He knows he's out of the round. Just going to be... Oh, hello, he's burning alive there, Rops, and he'll get another 21 HP. Simple just gives it up. Trying to forget the AK-47, but just denying the AWP there.
Okay, Robs did get the AK. I thought he threw it away by accident at the end of the round. So that means they're back into this game because now Na'Vi are forced to sit for a round. They're in a forced position. This is why the timeout's called from Zeus, because Simple's got 66-50. 38-50, 37-50. There's 3 players in range. If Simple drops 1, maybe they go for it, and they can break back down the CT side immediately. In doing that, it's going to put them in a worse position, and then we get to an 8-5 scoreline. So great opportunity for mousesports here based on the call from Na'Vi and how disciplined do they want to go. They're going to force. They're going in with AKs. Great round from Sticko to rotate back around and catch the flank.
Yeah, and the bathrooms especially. That second kill to get the bomb, that was everything. A player whose position in the squad was questioned about a month ago. A lot of speculation as to whether he'd be removed. He's still here. They've made another grand final, so well played to him. Y comes in, 1 PD50. In the hands of Electronic, but 4 AKs are out, very limited in terms of utility. 2 smokes, a couple of flashbangs there, 1 Molotov. No orb. Oh, there is an orb for Oscar. I beg your pardon. He will be towards the bathrooms. Flashes in, and this is where Oscar comes alive. I can feel it. This is one of his rounds. Should be. Oof. Okay. Nah, I take it back. Take it all back.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Simple and Zeus just completely destroy them in bathrooms. Electronic's going to go fast. Molotov will hold off bank stairs. Electronic swings out. He's got 1, follows it up. It's Flamey, that actually hits the second shot. But either way, same result. We're down to Rops in a 1 versus 4 force by justified immediately from Na'Vi.
Oh, yes, and then some. Oscar just can't get into this game.
You mentioned it as well. Oh, he certainly can't, but you mentioned it as well. Na'Vi's playing with a much faster pace.
Yep.
We've seen the bomb down around the minute mark, which is extremely rare when Na'Vi's on the T side.
They're taking advantage of some of their opening kills now, and that's a change of pace for sure. They keep mixing things up, and it's going to be Rops left in the 4 versus 1 here. Probably gets this kill, maybe not even that. 4 players survive for Na'Vi. They pick up the AWP. Yep. Great force by, can't argue with those results, and completely send mousesports to hell in terms of their money. It's going to be them. What are we going to buy? Have a look here. Chris J, 1,400. Sunny, 19. It won't be a double eco considering they've got 3,600 on Rops, and similar story for Oscar and Sticko. And we'll take just the full eco here and try and buy up next round. But once again, they're chasing constantly here on overpass. 4 Mac 10 for Zeus, reading the situation quite well there. They flash towards middle. They have got a 4-man stack in the bathrooms here. Simple back on the AWP. Have a look at the frag standings while we're here, ladies and gentlemen. I know you all love those stats. Simple, of course, top of the doors, who have 14 kills, 7 deaths. Edward 11, Flamey 12, Electronic on 4. Still really yet to be convinced by him, I'll be honest. Zeus 7 and 7. He's doing his job. He's keeping up with the pack. He's had a couple of good impact frags. And on the other side, Rops at the top of 10. Just to quickly at the bottom where we stick 5 and 10 as we get into the frags here.
Good play from Edward. Flamey's going to rob him of any chance of the ace. He'll go back out and close it as well. 10-3 Na'Vi destroying mousesports currently on overpass. Map 1, best of 3 final.
Yeah, this hasn't lived up to expectations so far. Remember on the CT side as well, Matt.
Remember that Na'Vi, by the way, in their deciding match to see if they were even going to be in the playoffs, we were calling them out for having an atrocious T side, an atrocious performance throughout the course of this tournament, and they have turned it around.
They had that 24-hour window. I said as long as they watched the demos back, those mistakes they were making weren't that bad in terms of they can't be fixed. It was just some slight adjustments in terms of anti-eco approaches, how they react to their defaults, when they should do executions. It's all come together. This is looking very good now. They're actually looking like a Na'Vi that would be proud to call themselves a world-class team. So, MP7 for Mass again, no defuse kits, little utility. It's very similar story here. And this all stems, Matt, from that initial force buy they took in, the 3rd round after losing their 2nd round force buy. And that's why I said a team like mousesports, in terms of the fragging department, probably a little bit below Na'Vi overall. You really feel like you should be hedging your bets, getting all your orbs out, your utility. But let's get into this one, shall we? Sunny opens things up, takes down that Electronic. He definitely is having a slower game than his teammates today. Sunny did get tagged up down to 31 HP. And they'll maintain the 5-on-4 lead here. Oscar falling back with the AWP. Sticko to back him up. Mid-control coming in for the Tizo. Flamey waiting for it to dissipate before he pushes through. Oscar hasn't really done much at all with the orb so far. keep saying it, maybe this is one of his rounds. Close range. That's where he seems to do his best work.
Oh, Shadow. Easy reaction. First convincing round for mousesports throughout the course of this entire half. Even the ones that won haven't been that convincing. So Oscar, AWP, still sitting inside of the bathroom. Simple and Edward, you said it. Rounds are never done if Simple's still alive. Doesn't matter if it's a 1v5 or not. Edward will try and get some information, and Simple currently sits toward long. Edward, oh my goodness, I thought he was going to get both. Nearly snapped it back over to get Stico. He goes down, but in that process, Simple found a kill as well. Suddenly a 1 versus 3, but time is gone, and Navi couldn't do much with it this time. Just want to save the AWP to go into round 15, the last of the half. Money available on both sides. Better money, fair enough, to Navi.
Round 15. mousesports, at least getting enough on the board so they can avoid losing the pistol. That's always a start. 10-5, not disastrous. They're definitely capable of making comebacks, but so far yet to impress. But that previous round was better. Chris J sticks on the MP7 here, round number 15. A much faster half than we're used to for Navi. Started off slow, but once they got going, they really were quite assertive with their picks. Chris J backs up the B-bomb site here. Flamey as ever, working towards the connector. He's got Sunny to deal with. He's changed his position again. He was towards short last round, remember? This is quite the tantalizing duel. Both very skilled players there towards the connector, who will come out on top. It might even tell us who's going to win the round in total. Great shot by Flamey. They both dink each other. Obviously, the AK coming out on top. And that's why CTs would always try and get those AKs if they can, so they can win those sort of duels in a cleaner fashion. Sunny takes him down to 9 HP. Navi once again, 5-on-4 for them. Well, that smoke actually doesn't work out as he throws it on the fire, so it obviously bloomed straight away instead of getting the position he wanted to.
Well, Oscar could take advantage of it. Flashed off originally. Simple knows it.
Who's coming.
Yeah, Simple knows it. He's playing the angle accordingly. He doesn't want to walk out too far. He would have heard that smoke extinguish. It would have been called. Flamey somehow gets away alive. I don't know how.
He's looking
Oscar,
off.
Yeah, he certainly is, because that should have been an easy kill. And remember, we go to his playground next. We go to Mirage, where mousesports is one of the best in the world. He's going to need to be dead on. Edward slips up long. Down goes Sticko.
Yeah, if he's off, this is disastrous for mousesports. That's why I even said in the pre-game coming this one, Simple, always going to be spot on. Most games, he'll give a good performance, if not a world-class performance. Oscar is either incredibly good or very, very average. And unfortunately for mousesports, this is one of those games. He's missing textbook shots for him. Something he wouldn't even blink at, like flick shots and impressive close-range encounters, but this has just been nothing for him. And as the smoke will come in towards spawn, it's the last round, 5 versus 1. Rops can't do anything with this. It will be 11-4. On the CT side of overpass, that is not enough. But remember, this is Navi's pick. We move on to Mirage next, and Train is the third pick. I do think Train is definitely a possibility. Mirage is so strong for mousesports, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens in the second half here. If they can win a pistol, not over just yet. And these frags has been padding stats at this point. Looks quite nice that he gets 2, but with the bomb beneath 5 seconds now, it's already over. And there we have it. 11-4 does come in. Great performance overall from Navi. Happy with that.
Very, very solid performance on a T side that's been scrutinized throughout the course of the event. Fans will be loving it. They waited a while to get to this matchup. So 11-4. Navi will swap over, and a pistol might make this quick.
Well then, pistol is everything at this point. We'll have a look at the buys as they come in. Any wild cards coming through, any deagles, any jewelies, anything like that? We'll have a look. 4 sets of armor for mousesports so far, so maybe not on their side. Sticko will have the utility. He's the support player for sure on this team. He'll have the smoke, the 2 flashbangs on the other side. Nothing too crazy either. Simple. I was about to say, has he gone full eco on the pistol? He's actually got the armor there at the very end. So 5 sets of armor for them. No diffuse kit. I like to have one. This kind of buffs your chances a little bit. But they'll go straight towards B, as we always discuss. More teams favor B on pistols in most maps, just because it's a little tighter. And trades are definitely possible. And if you can get the bomb down, even if you don't win the round, you'll be in a pretty advantageous position. Here's Edward pushing towards the playground. He's got so much information for his team. It's unbelievable. The fact he's got in this position, Not even detected. He can send, what, 3, 4 to B and be happy holding playground. He, of course, has problems towards the connector, but he can keep checking that. Smoke towards the side now. Flash to go through momentarily. But Flamey ready with that P2000. Might even be required.
Shot for Zeus. Flamey's got it lined up. Steps out. Second headshot. Stico next in. And Flamey's staring that down as well. He does have to go for the reload. And Stico is able to get the shot as a result. But Edwards hot on their heels. And already on the flank, it's just Oscar left in the short tunnel. And I imagine with a short fuse, as this round almost done, Zeus will confirm it 12-4 for Na'Vi.
Yeah, Oscar can't even find frags like that when he has a huge advantage. Zeus misses 6 or 7 bullets, still gets the kill. That might be all she wrote for this map, I'm afraid. We'll have to force by here with no bomb going down. mousesports are very good with the Deagles. Extremely good, especially Sunny. Watch out for him. Chris J, a bit of a specialist as well. And we will be all in across the board. No saving for Orbs. Need to win this round. Otherwise, looking down the barrel of 14-4. Very quiet. T's not giving away exactly what they're up to just yet. Remember, they've only got 2 flashbangs. Going for long control, getting those 1 digs against potential SMGs, that's an idea. We've only got 1 rifle on the CT side, so they've definitely got a shout in this round. UMPs, MP9s, MP7s. Not ideal, really, against these Deagles, especially if Oscar can get the jump on them towards the A site here. Edward might be exposed. He's been very quiet in getting information here, so good work there by Oscar. Simple. Drops the smoke, buys himself some time towards mid. Looks like he just wants to fall back now. Closes the door behind him.
Oscar with the Deagle is desperate at this point in time. The single M4 for Edward. Amy. Not able to get much done with the running and gunning. Bit of damage on the ROPS, but so far so good. Armor to go with the pistols. They naturally had to for this force buy. They want to pick up weapons and take advantage of it. It's a good situation to be in. They need rounds desperately. They finally get the opening kill. Flamey goes down. Bit of an overreach on his behalf because no one was even toward barrels or watching short. So he was done for if they managed to take both approaches either way.
Very low HP now. 10 seconds. They need to make sure they get some money out of this. They can't even plant. I don't think it'll be extremely close towards that A site. 5. Can't plant.
Can't plant. He missed it. He's missed the window. Then now the problem is if they don't get any money at all from this, if he goes down.
Yeah, he just needs to stay alive.
Either way, it's round 2. You still need the money. The money you gain is better than that of which you save because it's going to leave, let me see, Sunny with $0.
Yeah, and he's got, what, $1,200 worth of kit, maybe $1,300 with the Deagle. So yeah, you're absolutely right there. That has not worked out for him. They might just have to force buy this now. This is disastrous. So Robs gets no money either. He's got an MP9.
I guess the good news is if he gets a bunch of kills on the MP9, he could make up the deficit. Not by much. You lost a $1,900 investment.
Yeah.
Or cash injection, shall we say.
The problem is the MP9 is certainly a defensive weapon. It's just holding tight angles and being a little bit annoying.
Yeah, he essentially needs 3 kills to make up for last round not getting any money.
Well, this could be a start. Edwards dinked up. There it is. He goes down. Okay, we're making this at least competitive this round. Sunny might have to do a little bit of work. Okay, this is Na'Vi maybe being a little bit overzealous. I don't think they counted for the fact that now Sunny and Rops have armor, an MP9 and an M4. This is actually looking pretty good, all things considered. Electronic coming in behind them. He's had a very quiet game so far. Could he find the timing on Rops? Spots him. Can't get the kill though. Come on, Electronic. Got to step up now. Flamey, 2 versus 1. That's been very good this tournament so far. mousesports, barely any HP between them, and look at Flamey's position. He has read this like a book. Apparently, not a very long readers. He didn't have to think about this whatsoever. He seems very confident, Matt, in his positioning. Will they check it? Make the call. Oh my god, they might have to.
Yeah, Sunny down. 1v1, Rops desperate to try and get the ace. Oh, the jump from Flamey!
Why are they jumping?
Rops actually gets the ace and wins the round for Na'Vi. No reason to jump at all from Flamey.
Why does he jump there? Doesn't make any sense. I couldn't even break that one down for you while you would jump. He's got 10 HP. Surely your teammates have called his low. And fair play to Robs. Very well done. He gets an ace there after being in a disastrous position after getting no money. And maybe we have a few twists and turns as we get into round number 19. Who knows? An ace from Robs. Who would have thought? Is it the lifeline to get them back in this map? Time will tell.
So Zeus toward B with Flamey firing through. Force buy in return, gets the first pick. Flamey to do so. Smoke down a monster. He takes full advantage of it.
Well, Oscar's been tagged up as well. They've gone for a fast contact B play here. It really hasn't worked out for them at all. Now, 4 versus 2, but still, Oscar alive. Barely, though. 32 HP. This really wasn't the correct approach, but that is. Flamey goes down. Oscar preempts it. 3 on 2 now. Certainly possible. 1 minute 10. They have got a smoke, a Molotov, and a flashbang. I like this from Electronic. Oh, I thought he was going to go all in there. Could have worked out very nicely. Get the intel, if not a kill. And they're going to commit towards B. They obviously will be having to take their time to go back towards A. They've got no intel on this side of the map. As the rotations come through, just trying to pick up some weapons here. There we go. Give Edward the rifle. We'll give Zeus a deagle. They have committed towards A now. Molotovs towards bank. CTs, no kits, remember. They'll just rotate in and try and deny the bomb. This is the best place to do it. If you can get them as they're planting map, obviously that's one player out of the situation for 4 seconds. It definitely worked, is getting in there and trying to find the advantage. Sticko dead. Nothing you can do about that. And just like that, Na'Vi steal back the round.
Absolutely do. And the momentum with it, 14-5. Even when things look like there might be a bit of hope, or there's a silver lining, a glimmer on the horizon, mousesports quickly realize that snatched away from them as well. It's going to be Simple in third on the kill sheet, believe it or not. Flamey and Edward at 21 and 20.
That's actually good news for me.
That's very good news.
For Na'Vi. I mean, like the fact that Edward and Flamey are showing up and you've got this sort of scoreline and Simple's not carrying, that's actually surprisingly good news. It would suggest that everyone's going to turn up here today. As Sticko will be challenged by Edward towards the connector here. You can hear the crowd riling up now. They know this round is successful for Na'Vi. Pretty much guarantees the map for them. First kill. Not going to be over just yet, or is it? Electronic backs his teammate up. They can fall back towards the bomb sites now. That's the hard work done. Edward doesn't seem satisfied with the lead. He's got what a flick that is. Simple takes down 2 with the AK, and now just 1 player remains. Looking for map point, but they are making it troublesome for themselves.
No need to force the issue. He's got the bomb. Just the scout so far for Sunny. Zeus will cover off long. They'll leave Electronic in position at middle. There's no access to A as a result of this, and therefore the push-up from Flamey means they can't go back toward T-spawn. So everything covered off with a very forward stance, although it's a triple isolation situation, meaning it's a 1v1v1. No matter which way he goes, he will get that duel, but the duel won by an M4. Map point Na'Vi. We had a Mirage next. Don't forget that is, of course, mousesports map choice. But concerns already with how that'll go when they're not hitting the shots they need to be, especially Oscar. We have to highlight him.
Yeah, they took a bit of a gamble playing this one. Mousesports, that is, obviously removing Inferno. They thought maybe they could challenge him and overpass, but we've seen how that's gone down. It didn't work out, but yes, it's a best of 3. It doesn't really matter what the result is in terms of the scoreline. You've lost their map pick. That's to be expected against an equal matchup. So not the end of the world up by any stretch. What is a little bit worrying that Oscar looks so quiet for them. But you mentioned it before, Mirage, that's probably his main stomping ground, and especially that double AWP as well. That's going to cause the most amount of damage. I am talking like this map's already over. I feel like it probably is, considering they need 10 match points in a row. And Electronics started to come to life now. 2 quick kills for him. Sunny does take down 1, so does Oscar. 3 on 3, any leads they seem to get on the CD side are quickly answered back. Deagles are always going to be such an important factor for mousesports. Very good with them. As you can see, Edward struggling there. Another Deagle kill. They are just trying to push the envelope a little bit too much here. As you can see, everyone rotating and challenging absolutely everything.
So just Flamey. Can't close it out quite so easily. Chris J, Oscar, Sunny, they're all going to be working toward the site. Bomb to be planted. We'll see if Flamey's surprise positioning catches them off, but a smart plant behind the truck instead, knowing that that's a possibility. And Chris, having already spotted them, takes away our chances of seeing any heroism by Flamey.
Well, you can see there's still a couple of flaws in Navi's game. You get a 5-on-3 and it's match point. They're on pistols. You do not need to push them. That is just not required at all. And you've just extended this game and risked the fact that they could come back and make this overtime. We saw the potential of that today in that third, fourth place game. That is always going to be a factor.
What a barn burner.
Yeah, well, the fact that Liquid were up 11-0, went to quad overtime, lost them up. 12-0, in fact, beg your pardon. Well, there you go. You just can't risk anything. Even if you feel like this is a lock-in, they've got Glocks, no armor, it's match point. You can't justify giving up those sort of leads. A 5-on-3 just running around one by one. Let's see how much they'll regret that as the rounds go on. Obviously, and exaggerating some of them, they'll probably still win. But could have been there and then not let mousesports warm up into the grand final, you know, build up some pace and allow them to get close rounds and bring it to double digits, and all of a sudden they start getting a bit nervous on that side. I think Zeus is giving them a good talking to now. At least he should be. And they will force by here once again. It's trying to close it out as quick as they can.
Stick go. Just to do
aggressive
play to admit, but it's Electronic that gets Sunny to start.
What will they do with it? Will they run around one by one with the M4s, or will they hold back? Time will tell. Zeus looking for another kill. No need for it.
I was going to say, with the AK as well, has the potential to try and tap toward the party, but you're right. Overcommits to the peak. Electronic's not going to do the same. He may be found, however. Chris gets close and nails him, so now the advantage firmly in the hands of mousesports.
If they're going to do that, at least do it together. Don't go one by one. That is the absolute worst way to challenge for the frags.
So Chris to sit back outside of the bathroom. A open. And rotations away from it already. Save perhaps from Na'Vi.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just going to gamble towards B. If it doesn't come on this side of the map, they'll hold on to the weaponry. As I said, this is dangerous. mousesports probably won't win the map, but they'll build up into this final now. Some of their key players might start finding some good form, win some clutches. Kind of shake the nerves off a bit. I did mention they haven't played a grand final in front of a crowd before. They've done ECS finals, which is in Cancun in a hotel. They won Mykonos, which was in a villa, no crowd. It is a bit nerve-wracking out there, knowing that you haven't been in this sort of environment before. Oscar, though, executes simple in the back. Didn't really account for that. And the round will be over there.
Amy's sitting inside of the pit. Round to expire and go the way of mousesports, 15-7. Flamey, oh, he's going to be found as well. Oscar takes his time, no problem. Gun gone, so we'll likely see this extend into at least round 24. This will be a second round loss bonus with them sitting on $2,000, so presumably the third, that'll be 2,400. That'll put them up into a position of purchase, shall we say.
Not over just yet. Here we go, Matt. Place your bets. Can mousesports do it? Na'Vi had this closed. It was done. A 5-on-3 against pistols. A lapse of concentration. I see it so many times in pro games. These teams trying to close it out as quickly as they can and just thinking, it's over now. Let's stall on them. You have to remember, these teams, sure, you might be beating them, they're still very proficient with the weaponry, especially those Deagles and CZs. CZ's sometimes better in rifle in certain situations. You can't just run around and give it up like that, but still fine. They'll be taking a partial buy here. We have got Zeus pretty much all in it, down to 800. Same story for Electronic. And Pause will come in. mousesports, fully equipped. AKs, Orb, full utility. They know they still have somewhat of a shout in this. It's not over till the read 16 at the top.
Zeus go back to the site. So stack toward B. Zeus ran out, didn't spot anyone early, trying to cross over at A. That'll at least give them a bit more confidence in their positioning. Boost up to C short, but no one's showing anything from mousesports. They're going to sit back. Let Na'Vi get impatient. The rifle, naturally the one boosted. And it's not your standard short boost, meaning that there won't be a crosshair facing it by default, if you will. But problem for them. Unfortunately, as we see it now, they are going to be heading on toward the ace site. Zeus needs to spot this early if they plan on rotating and challenging at all. Edward in that rotation rather than the flank. It's Flamey instead pushed up toward the pit. Bomb's still down toward T stairs as well. They've got all kinds of opportunity to go back and grab that and still swing this in the other direction. 47 seconds.
Yeah, time is starting to get a little bit troublesome. Still fine. And back towards B now. There's actually not too much presence at all there from Na'Vi, so that's the correct call to make. 30 seconds. Need to start getting their skates on here. Flamey with the only play on that side of the map. They go for an execution here, but Zeus will open things up. Nice work. That was the bait towards the A side. Takes down Sunny, gets a rifle for it. Electronic only got that PT-50. Can he find anything here? Backed up by Edward now. This could be it. They have the lead for now. Bomb trying to go down, but Simple denying absolutely everything with that CZ. I think that's done it. The bomb will be planted, and Chris J can do nothing about it. Clean sweep with 1 and 4. The CZ's in hand, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The first map will be going to Na'Vi. This is their map pick. They are expected to win it. We move on to Mirage next, where it could be a completely different kettle of fish, but it's nice to see the other players, Edward, Flamey, Zeus even having a decent game there and not having to rely on Simple.
Absolutely. And he's not even near the top of the sheet. I take that back, actually. All tried on 22, so I thought actually Flamey was a little bit ahead of that. But 22 kills for 3 different players, 12 and 12 for Electronic and Zeus. Some symmetry involved in the scoreboard, but a win for Na'Vi on their map. I would say convincing, and it was overall, but
yes,
they still kind of made it a little bit interesting at the end.
Yeah, they definitely made a few blunders towards the end there, just trying to shut down that nice and fast, but overall they still win by a convincing margin. Looked much better, especially on the T sides there. Very few to little mistakes there, completely. Like, there was nothing I can really report that was horrible about the game, and that was a really good showing from Na'Vi.
Yeah, from Na'Vi's side, certainly, but mousesports, I worry with them going to Mirage on the double op if Oscar's not going to be hitting.
Absolutely, it's a bit of a problem there, and we'll see whether they can recover. We need Oscar to arrive, but Matthew, we need to take a break, and so do the players. We'll come back with the analyst desk, so do not go anywhere. This final is just heating up.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
It's the quick scope! This is unreal! Anything is possible. Anything is possible! You still always a monster, Tom!
Na'Vi do manage to weather the storm of map 1. Inferno was taken away from them. It's been a strong suit for them throughout the tournament. And despite that, they still managed to go ahead and win with their response, which was, of course, overpass. Joining me here at the desk, I do have Chad and I have myself a Yanko to break this one down. And I mean, it seemed that Na'Vi have managed to maintain the form we saw from them in the semi-finals. My question has to be, though, how much of that victory was mousesports' gamble not paying off on overpass?
Alex, you know when we get berated on the internet by morons with their terrible logic by Twitter, and they're like, man,
I like where this is going.
This is good.
And then our brains start to melt because their logic is just so poor.
Okay.
That's where I think the brains of mousesports started in this game, because I haven't seen them miss so many easy shots or 1v1 duels throughout the entire tournament. They've come here and they've just crumbled. Like that third round bye, it was like, I get it, right? They killed all members, Rops almost won that 1v1, it would have been sick. They've opted to go for that. The map's already a gamble. I assume they would have had a game plan going into this one. I know they said they're playing more free-flowing, they're making it up on the fly, but even still, it's not your map pick. It's one that you've been banning throughout the tournament. Surely you had something in store for Na'Vi?
And that's something what we generally praise mousesports for, right? Having that clear game plan, knowing what to do in gun rounds, playing that macro game, so to speak, very well. And then we were sitting here talking in the pregame about how you shouldn't give Na'Vi, easy rounds. Don't go into force buying and all of that. Just try to play more gun rounds, pure gun rounds with a lot of utility. That's probably where your chances lie, no matter the map. So Na'Vi gets off to a 4-0 start. Obviously, a lot of money in the bank. That lets them play with a bit more confidence, play a bit more loose, and they were definitely capitalizing on that good early start.
They've done it again as well. They managed to get more fraggers in the server. This time, instead of Electronic, it was Edward who decided to join Flamey and Simple.
This was actually Na'Vi playing really well as a team.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we haven't seen from them so far in the tournament and just in general, we have seen here. Doing a good job of, not dying early to the aggression from mousesports, to Oscar, even getting entry kills themselves, and then doing a very good job of closing out those 5v4 rounds. Great job of mixing it between the sides, between the pace even sometimes. They would go a bit more fast towards A long, or they would play just a slow default style and then end the round on B with an execute. So really good play on the T side.
Just while you're talking about ending up on B as well, I felt like, numerous, I'd probably have to count on both hands the amount of times you'd see Oscar on his own trying to retake the B site that had been lost. It felt like it was just rinse and repeat, and I couldn't understand as to how that was happening.
Yeah, well, we touched on the fact that they like to give him the AWP or give him the bank so he can have the AWP to go for those rounds and win those clutches. But overpass, if you get isolated and you're zoned out, which is a problem he has as well on a map like Cobblestone, it's very difficult to make that magic happen. The magic happens for him on maps like Mirage, where he's already in the thick of it. He doesn't have to fight or battle his way to get some ground. He's already in the middle of nowhere, and he's doing those crazy flick shots. You see it on Train as well on the T side when he gets a bit of territory. I think that here you can get locked out on the CT side very easily, and we saw that. And the MP7 at Chris J, we praise them for being able to do things like that. But in a situation where it doesn't work, it just looks silly.
And also, Chad likes to talk about combat toppers, guys who get really use it almost as a shotgun and play around smokes and all of that. Oscar is almost the definition of that. And you put him on the A side where it's mostly holding an angle and just waiting for someone to come into the angle. Obviously, he can hit those shots as well, but it's not where he is at his best. And even if you send him towards B, you can't really hunt for frags as much on overpass. It's just, the structure of the map. It's mostly long ranges, and unless you're going to be in that bathrooms area, where he did try to play aggressive a couple of rounds, but he was punished by the Na'Vi players.
Stylistically, we touched on the fact that these two teams have different approaches. Yanko already spoke about how well Na'Vi did with their defaults and zoning out and making those frags. The reason that I thought the clash would go in the favor of mousesports was I based off the entire tournament that they're winning all the heads-up duels. In the default that Na'Vi's taking, there is a chance for the 1v1 duel, especially on a map like Overpass. There's so much territory to cover as the Ts, and you saw time and time again whiffed shots, sprays or duels that just didn't go their way, that throughout the rest of the tournament they've been winning.
And I think that's the problem for mousesports, really, is that if you're playing that CT side, you don't want to have necessarily 1v1 fights. You want to have players, especially towards A, playing as a duo, right? You can't hold both short and long at the same time. You can't have one player holding toilets, the other guy holding long. You have to pick and focus on that one area, and then if you see that you've missed it, you have to rotate back or whatever. You could see rounds where they would play aggressive in water, but Stico would go down connector by himself, and Oscar is watching playground, and then Stico just dies, and there's no one there to trade. That's just a 5v4, and Oscar has to fall back a little bit.
Perhaps unfamiliar with the map.
Potentially, but we have to look at like silver linings here in the sense of they did start to hit those frags. They had a couple that forced by win. You know, they were getting back into it. I think those rounds are going to be very important going into Mirage. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. Now, I'm very critical of that, and I think that mousesports definitely underperformed and individually weren't hitting shots that they should. But we're going onto a map here that they need to have a lot of confidence in. We need this to be a good grand final for mousesports. Otherwise, that mental crumbling that we've touched on time and time again is just another problem.
Absolutely. They need to get that map just kind of completely out of their minds, hit the reset button as they come into a map that they have been dominant on so far here in the tournament and, of course, prior to it. Right, well, they hit the reset button, we're going to hit the break button. And when we do return, we're talking all about Mirage and how Na'Vi could close this